So remember back in 2019 when people complained about the Child's Play remake, how they were like, this shouldn't have been called Child's Play, it should have been called something else. This is literally that film. What's up, everybody, and welcome to my review of M3GAN, the first of many reviews for 2023. Yes, I know I've been absent for a while. I apologize for that. You weren't able to see this ugly mug. The holidays and the New Year's has been crazy, but I'm here now, and FYI, hope everybody had a great Christmas and Happy New Year. So, now let's talk about M3GAN, the newer slasher horror film kicking it off with 2023. M3GAN tells the story of Cady, this little girl who suffered this tragic loss and ends up going to live with her aunt, who then introduces her to M3GAN, an artificial intelligence robot doll with a few homicidal tendencies of her own. First of all, guys, I honestly didn't really know what to expect. I walked in with such low expectations. Any lower, it would have been dragging the ground. But I've always been a fan of killer dolls, Chucky being an example. On one hand, yeah, I can see this being really good, but on the other hand, a little iffy. Was this really watchable, though? Was this worthy of the horror genre? Let's find out and start off with the positives for M3GAN. First and foremost, I've got to say, M3GAN herself was awesome. She was a really great antagonist for this film. You have this killer robot who at first turns out to be like so sweet and this, just this friend for this little girl, for all the stuff that she endured, that this little girl endured. And you really get to connect with who this robotic intelligence AI is. But then as the movie progresses, you know something's going to go wrong. You know she's going to go all homicidal maniac, which she eventually does. And remember, I compared it to the Child's Play 2019 remake. This is pretty much that film that everybody complained about that should have been. Not that I'm saying I had a problem with that film, but as much hate and flack as that film got, this is really that film. And you can tell this was a big middle finger to MGM from this film, because there's a bunch of scenes that depicts what happened in that film. Again, it was like a big middle finger to MGM saying, the hell with y'all, we're making our own. But M3GAN was performed very well. Amy Donald, who actually did the motions of this character, you knew it wasn't going to be full-on robot because it was too human with her movement, especially in the trailer when she does that weird dance that apparently this film is being known for now. The way this girl played this character off was actually pretty good. She showed great, creepiness, and this is just another example again about how creepy dolls can be. Setting Chucky aside, this particular doll, since it has more of a human look to it, but very blank, pale, and emotionless, it really did send out that creepy vibe. And I really did appreciate that, especially for the horror element. It really showed that creepy side to her, and I really loved that. The film plays off as two different genres. At one hand, you can look at this as a drama/family film. And on the other hand, you can look at it as a horror film. So if you take the horror elements out, this can actually be seen by anybody. It's just about this girl that suffers this tragic loss, and she inherits this AI doll that just be there for her. You can look at it as like sort of a family film if you take all the horror elements out. That right there, it's just something that you don't hardly ever see in film. Not that I see anyway, especially horror. So you can really divide this, split this down the middle as two different genres. For the sake of everybody, or for most people, if you like that side of it, then cool. If you like the horror side of it, then cool. So it's pretty much a win-win. And to me, it just gave the movie more of a purpose. A fulfilled purpose of what the movie was of the movie's existence. And I really like that. I really do. And the story was great. Without giving too much away, and I know some people on here has already said that Blumhouse has a bad habit of pretty much telling you everything from the trailer. But still, without giving too much away, it was a really good story. You get a lot of heartfelt moments about this little girl who suffers this really bad loss, tragic loss, and you have this AI, artificial intelligence doll that is made by her aunt after she comes to live with her, and she just tries to be there for her. And there's a bunch of, heart-tugging moments that really kind of sent me into like a... But I didn't cry. Don't worry, I didn't cry. But close. I really did appreciate that. Sometimes in especially in a horror film, you need to have that sense of hope and that sense of kind of, not everything is bad. Not everything is ashy, slashy, dicey, slicey. The tone within itself was vital. There's not a single moment in this movie that I felt bored. January has been known to becoming the dumping ground for films to where the studio just doesn't have enough faith in it, so they just dump it all in January because not enough people goes to theaters around that time. But it's been looking up a little bit. It's been perking up a little bit because last year's Scream, which also came out in January of last year, was awesome and excellent. It was a good moneymaker. So I hope this movie does well. Honestly, again, like I said at the beginning of this video, I was not expecting to like this movie as much as I did. Still had my problems with it, but I'll get into that later, but still. It was actually really good, and I was very surprised. Very surprised, and you could probably pretty much guess what my rating is going to be. It was a fun experience. It was definitely a fun experience. Like I said, I went into this with the lowest expectations possible. Just enough to where it just dragged the ground, just dragged it. And maybe that's what you gotta do. I'm not saying it'll always work if you always set your expectations at a low bar, but, it helps in most cases. The film was really fun. I had a good time. It was a fun movie to watch. It was a fun little horror movie to watch. But where it falters for me, and I don't really have that much, but starting off low, starting off with a mix, which I only have one of those, is Cady, played by Violet McGraw, the little girl, the main star of this. In the first and third act, she really shined. You really sympathize with this character of all the shit that she goes through with the tragic loss and just all the emotions of the ocean and all that. And it just really makes you feel for this character. And it tugs on your heartstrings. But where she falters, and I don't have as much problem with this character as a whole, but where she falters for me was the second act, where she starts acting out and she starts being disrespectful and picking up knives and waving it at people and throwing things. At one point, she punched her aunt. I was like, ugh. Now, don't get me wrong. I get, realistically, the things that this little girl has went through, yes, you're going to lash out. You're going to feel pain. And it's just something that humans do. It's just something that we do whenever we suffer tragic loss. I'm not somebody that lost my parents. I can't really relate. But I would imagine if I had gone through the same thing that this little girl has at her age, at that age, then yeah, I kind of see myself maybe doing those things. But when you're watching a movie where the main star is supposed to be a likable character, she just wasn't really that likable, and that's not really good to have in your movie. Like I said, the first act and the third act was really good. I mean, at least she saved it. She really, really saved herself in the third act. She really shot. She was kick-ass. But it's just something that I felt like I wanted a little more from the character, from a character that was supposed to be a main character of this film. I was wanting to like her, and that's just something that you need in your film. Now, moving on to negatives, which I only have one of those as well. The rating. And I knew going into this, it was a watered-down PG-13, and you can definitely tell when you watch the movie and the kill scenes, you can definitely tell that the kill scenes in this has been cut from a hard R rated to a theatrical PG-13 cut. You see something and then it cuts right away. You see a guy get hit by a truck and it cuts right away, but you know it happened. You see this guy getting stabbed, but there's no blood. Again, I'm a gore hound, and for something like this to be rated that, I just don't think it's a good idea. Now, am I saying that all PG-13 horror films suck? No. There's A Quiet Place, there's The Conjuring, Insidious. Yeah, those are exceptions. But for a slasher, come on, it's like rating a Scream movie PG-13. If you rate a slasher movie PG-13, it feels off. It feels empty. And I need my blood. I need my gore. I need my carnage candy. Now, don't get me wrong. The fact that they watered this down and cut this from a hard R to a PG-13 didn't quite kill it completely, no pun intended. But you need to have that sense of dread, that sense of not being safe. And in order to do that, you need to see just some gore, some carnage candy. And for it to be PG-13, that's why whenever I always go into a movie like this, which is one of the reasons why I went in with such low expectations, you need to have some gore and just something. And I guarantee you, day damn one, once they start promoting this on streaming or Blu-ray, they'll probably say something like, this is the unrated director's cut you never saw and you should have seen. And they'll promote the shit out of it. You know, mark my words, that will happen. To the point to where they throw this contradictory reasoning behind this movie to where if the filmmakers was to release this as the unrated director's cut, gory, carnage candy filled, all that, then just release it like that in theaters. Stop with this nonsense of thinking that just because you rate a movie PG-13 that it's more of a moneymaker. Stop with that shit. Just please give us our blood, give us our gore, give us our carnage candy. Enough with this nonsense. Just enough. In the end, guys, the film is a fun watch. It's something that you'll have a good time at. For all you gore hounds, though, you might be a little disappointed, but for me, it was a happy accident. So M3GAN, what was your thoughts on it? Have you seen it yet? Are you somebody that ate this up? Were you one of those that was complaining back in 2019 about the Child's Play, about how that should have been named something else? If so, how you feel now if you watched M3GAN? Or was this something not for you? Was this another swing and a miss? Leave me a comment down below and give me your thoughts. Thank you so much, guys, for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. Again, I apologize for being absent, but I'm here now again. It might take me some time in between every now and then, but I'll still be all up in your face. With that being said, I ask you to like, subscribe, comment, share this video, and make sure to click that bell icon so again I can be all up in your face. And I will see you on the next one. Peace.